Hi everyone, welcome to another video. So in today's video, I'm going to be using some products that I'm trying to get like my thoughts together on. I'm going to be testing out a new kind of primer, kind of like moisturizing spray thing. And I'm also going to be doing a makeup look using the Diverune Cosmetics Moth and the Moon palette. Now, I don't know if this is going to be available anymore at the time that this video is going to finally be uploaded. I am currently pre-filming. Everything does seem like once it's had its run, it will not restock. As far as I can see, Diverune, not only are they a brand new indie brand, but they are very, very small. Restocks are not really forthcoming on a lot of things. I am definitely really excited to try it. I've heard the shimmers are a lot more exciting than the mattes, but I'll see how I feel about it. This is what it looks like. It is very, very pretty. Seems like every single person I follow and then some is being sponsored by D'Alba, which, okay, I'll be honest, I really like their setting spray, so I'm not really annoyed by it. What everybody has been doing sponsorships for is this. I bought it way before the sponsorship thing. I've been wanting to try this thing from D'Alba for probably maybe 4 or 5 months now. There was a deal going on Amazon where it was 45% off, so I did finally get one to see what I think about it. I've heard that this is a really great mist to use before makeup, so I'm gonna do that. Ooh, it does feel nice. I feel like this would be something that I would keep at my desk and just spritz onto my face every now and again. Okay, so you can see that my skin more or less soaked all of that up. I'm going to use some under eye primer. I'm going to use my Diverune Cosmetics primer. What is this giant red spot? I'm going to try again the NARS Light Reflecting Foundation. I had a terrible experience with it the last time I used it. It looked nice for the first 5 minutes and then suddenly it started to become really dry on me. And I kind of was thinking it might have been a base and skincare issue just because of the fact that I know my skin was very dry that day. I had been testing out something as the base that I wasn't using my usual primers or anything like that. So I want to use this with my favorite stuff and see what happens before I judge this foundation. Not sitting on my skin very well. It's just over here on my cheek, it's grabbing. I think you can really see it around my nose area, how it's just not really adhering to my skin. It's not forming a smooth layer. There's areas where it just wants to clump. If it's in focus, it's like right here. You can see here on this cheek, it's really not sitting well. I'm not sure what's going on there. I'm gonna have to keep messing around with that foundation. I'm very disappointed right now that it doesn't seem to be working for me when so many other people with dry skin seem to really appreciate it. I am going to put on my concealer. My eyelids seem to be too dry for anything else lately. I tried mixing this with the Rare Beauty eye primer and that still kind of dried out my eyelids a little bit. So for the time being, it seems that I'm not really able to use tinted eye primer, which is a really big bummer for me because my eyelids are naturally kind of hyperpigmented and sometimes you can see a little bit of discoloration on them. So especially when I'm working with pastel or more colorful shades, I do prefer to blank all of that out so that the colors look better. I can see the foundation really starting to kind of gather up in all of these spots in my pores and everything. And right here, you can definitely see it going on. Yeah, I don't know how to get this foundation to work. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start on the eyeshadow now. It's the palette. So pretty. I absolutely love this, and with the Gloomy Gardens collection existing now, I feel like I now have a pretty good idea of the overall concept and brand identity of Diverune Cosmetics, and I love it. So I am going to start off with these two shades over here on the end, and I will go darker and darker and darker because my brush selection right now is limited, so I'm probably going to be reusing the same brush multiple times. So I'm just going to start using this flat rougher brush, and I know I don't usually like using natural hair brushes with bright colors, but I will be sure to use my Sephora brush cleaner to wash these promptly. So I am going to try and be pretty precise about where these shadows go. And now I'm going to go into this bright salmon color. And again, this is one of those instances where using a tinted eye primer would have helped these show up way better. So I do apologize, you're not going to be able to get to see them completely true to color. And then I'm going to go into the bright orange. These three shades that I'm using, I would love to put on my cheeks as a blush. Actually, I have a look in my head, a blush focused look where I use these three shades on my cheeks. This is definitely not a formula that's going to play well with my eyelids unless they're super hydrated. I can see the purple is already kind of emphasizing some dryness on my inner corner area. Definitely I can see why people like Bad to the Brow would really like this formula, because I know she has oilier eyelids. Feels like I'm the only one on the platform trying to do eye looks, but also dealing with these dry eyelids. Like I feel like that's like, I feel like this is like purely a me problem. I've asked a couple people what they use for eye primer if they have dry eyelids, and everyone replied back saying, oh, actually I have oily eyelids, sorry. And I'm just like, does anyone have dry eyelids? And now I'm going to use I'll use these three mattes. I'm gonna tuck this down here. The dryness that this green is causing my eyelid, it's like almost cracking on my eyelid. So I'm gonna take the purple now. So I'm just gonna focus the purple down here. I'm not really blending it into the green. Again, I'm just doing color blocking. This is not gonna be the final result. These mattes do feel a little bit on the thinner side. Hopefully Gloomy Gardens will be a little bit more improved. Okay, I'm gonna use this blue now to blend into the green. Let me see if I can use this green to blend the blue a little bit more. That blue is behaving all kinds of bad on me. I think you can really see on this eye how it's just really clinging to all the dryness. It's just not wanting to spread evenly. I'm gonna have to mess around with this more on my own time, I guess, to see what's going on. Okay, lastly, the purple. The purple's actually not bad. That's funny, the best shade in this palette is this purple. So I'm gonna put on a little bit more purple than I intended to. Hopefully the purple can kind of conceal this blue. This blue did not want to cooperate today. Wonder if these shades will look better on my cheeks. I'm gonna try and like follow the curve I set with the purple. I will try using this small brush, see if I can maybe if I just need to use a smaller, more precise brush for this blue. I was not expecting the matte shadow portion of this look to take so long. I guess it's my fault though, but I'm glad I ended up doing a look using all the mattes because that helped me discover the discrepancies in the formula. I do not understand what's going on with this blue. Let me just try and see if I can pack it on a little bit more with a smaller brush. I don't think there's any saving that blue. That is really upsetting. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use the purple on my lower lash line. There's a little bit of blue mixed in there, but that's fine. And I mean, I'll admit I'm not the best. I'm not like a pro at eyeshadow or anything like that, but I don't think I call myself a beginner at this point. So for me to be having this much trouble with the eyeshadows, it just baffles me because I have watched many videos of people using the Diverune Cosmetics palette at this point, and I have not seen a single person have this kind of issue with the eyeshadow. So I feel like it really is just a me problem, and it is exceedingly frustrating that I'm getting this kind of result. Okay, I'm gonna take a fluffier brush now, and I am gonna blend out this purple using the salmon. Just, I think a little bit of a brighter lower lash line will work today. And it'll probably be a similar shade to what I put on my cheeks as my blush. So I'm also gonna take a little bit of the orange too. I'll just put it in the back right here. This is my first time using the palette, so I'm not gonna like pass judgment on it or anything, but I'm genuinely confused. That out of the way, it is time for me to use the shimmers, and I will see if these shimmers can redeem my look, because I don't want my eyeshadow look to finish looking like this. I'll use my foam tipped applicators again. I think this will just be the easiest. So I'm going to use this one on the inner part of my eye look. I'll use this kind of in the middle. I can really make a dent when I push on it with the applicator. It does seem a little bit thick, like there's individual chunks. It's not coming off super easily onto my applicator. I'm kind of just mashing it. So this would probably be better with a brush or something. Yeah, it feels quite thick. The chunks are really thick. So I put on this big ol' layer on my eyelid. Now I have to try and fix it. I did not mean to put that much on. I was gonna try and create more of a translucent glaze. Yeah, do you see how it picks up on my finger? A whole flake just comes off onto my finger. I have this much on my finger now. And this still probably is too much, but I'm gonna just carefully dab this on. This was kind of more of what I was going for. And even this is still too much. And then I'll just use what's left over on this applicator. I'm going to switch to using a brush. I'll take an O2 Mini, and I'm going to go into the other shade, which also looks similarly kind of flaky. So I'm just going to try and pick up just a little bit at a time. Do you see how little I'm trying to pick up? And I'm going to use this over here. So I would say that these would definitely benefit from some kind of tacky base. I'm not using one right now because it is MIA. I haven't had time yet to officially clean the bonus room and move my filming setup to the other side of the room. I'm not going to be able to do that until I get back from Johns Hopkins. I was hoping to do it earlier, but it's just not going to happen. Because of that, my glitter glue is off in the nether world. I don't know where it is, and I'm not too lazy to buy a new one. You know, I'm thinking I may just cover up this whole monstrosity and just have shimmer all over my eyelid. I don't even think that would be a bad thing, would it? I kind of don't want to completely cover up the matte shadows underneath just so that you can still see the gradient, so I'm just gonna lay these flakes down as if they were transformative toppers. So I'm just gonna go over everything and cover it all up. Nothing like sparkly eyeshadows to cheer you up and save your look. I am now going to take this green here, and I want to try using this on my lower lash line. This one definitely does not have the flakiness. It looks distinctly different in the pan. It looks much more like a traditional shimmer with finer particles, so it's not like a metallic shimmer, it's more of a sparkling shimmer. There are some flakies that are on my lower lash line because I am using the same brush and it was not thoroughly wiped, so that is not fallout, that is just me using the same brush and being lazy. I think this is improving slowly, very slowly. So next I'm going to, I was really hoping to have an excuse to use this shade right here. I probably could have put it down like here if I had been a little bit more selective with my previous shimmers, but that is okay if I don't get to do that. So what I do want to do, however, is I'm gonna take I want to take a brush with a really thin edge, because the blending between the brown and the orange, the blue and the orange, it did not happen, and it's still not fully concealed, so I need to cover that up. It's a fat brush, but it has a very thin edge. I'm going to use this, and I'm going to take this shade right here, and I'm going to use this to just cut the look in two. So you can see this eyeshadow, it's so pretty. I need to try using this eyeshadow just like on its own on top of other shades sometime. It works really, really well to try and draw precise lines with. I'm not using any Duraline or anything. I'm literally just using a very dense, narrow brush, and it's able to produce a very beautiful line on its own. I'm also gonna go ahead and take that shade on my lower lash line at the inner part. And you can see now that several minutes have passed, my foundation looks absolutely terrible. Oh my goodness. Everything just, this is such a mess, but I'm going to keep moving. I'm going to put on my mascara. I will be back in a few minutes while I deliberate that and while I do everything else. And when I come back, I'll do like, you know, blush, bronzer, lipstick, highlighter. I'll do all that good stuff. And then I'll wrap up this train wreck of a video. You know, it's good sometimes to see the days where I can't get it right. I'll be back in a few seconds. So I put on some false lashes. These are just from Doe Lashes. I curled my lashes a little bit too much, so I had a little bit of trouble getting the lashes to actually go down. So they're kind of sitting a little bit precariously today, but I'm gonna go ahead and take the palette again. If I had it, I definitely would love to do a gradient in the waterline, but I don't actually have any real colorful gel liners, and I'm kind of looking to get some, but at the same time, I feel like I need to find ones that are cheap enough that since I won't be using them that often, when they do dry out, I can just replace them regularly without costing myself a fortune. And I've heard that people like to use ColourPop for that, but I just don't know, like, I know their colors are so hit or miss, I don't know which ones are good to get. So if anyone has recommendations for cheap, colorful gel eyeliners that work well in the waterline, definitely let me know and I will look into it, because I would love to start doing more colorful waterline work, but I don't want to have to, like, you know, buy $18 to $24 eyeliners that I'm only going to use maybe a couple times for my more colorful looks, and then I have to replace when they dry out. Like, this is something that I know I'm not going to be able to use much before they dry, so I don't want to be buying expensive ones. But I think I need to take in that lavender a little bit more. It's kind of, the inside of my look is looking a little bit incomplete. And then I am going to take a little bit of the shade I used as the line, and I'm just going to use a little bit of it right at the edge here, just to kind of brighten up the inner corner and blend into everything else. You can see that just brightens things up a little bit. So I do agree with the online sentiment that the shimmers are far outperforming the mattes, and these are some really unique tones. I know this eyeliner is kind of old, so it may be a little bit dry, but hopefully I can still, let's see if I can still make a wing with this. I may have to like cut off the dry part. I mean, it's still there. So I used the paper towel to kind of rub off that top layer all around the point, and let me see if I can get a little bit more depth now. Okay, moving on. I think that these shades here will give me the perfect blush tones to match the warm tones in this eye look. So I'm gonna apply one side at a time, and we'll just see what happens. Now my skin is looking so just crazy dry. My pores are all emphasized. My skin looks terrible. So we'll see how this blush can sit on top of such a poor complexion. So as you can see, I'm putting it up higher on my cheekbone. And again, I do really like to use these more diffuse brushes so that I can really control the pigmentation. I could just apply blush all day long. Just, there's something so deeply meditative and relaxing about carefully blending out pigment on my cheeks. But I love eyeshadow because I love how artistic I can get with it, but in terms of just strictly what derives the most satisfaction when I'm applying, so when I use more diffuse blushes brushes like this, I also get to apply my blush for longer. And I just find that it's such a satisfying experience for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and quickly do this on the other cheek first as well before I use the other side. I'm kind of putting my brush into one side of the pan first, and then I'll go into the other side. I'm not mixing the shades together right now. Okay, I'm gonna go into the more vivid side now, that orange side. I'm going to use this kind of on the inner part of my face. It is quite smoothing on my skin. It gives off a nice smoothing effect. However, in the places where I applied it, my foundation kind of is starting to pill up. So now my foundation looks oddly balled up in certain spots. I don't know what's going on with this light reflecting foundation. I don't understand how it could possibly look so bad on me when it looks so good on everyone else. Before I put on highlighter, I am going to use some setting spray, just so that the highlighter has something to grab onto. I did buy a little bit from the Sephora sale, the President's Day sale or whatever. I did buy just a couple things. I spent probably $70 total. I met the $75 threshold for the 500 bonus points. And $20 of that was on something for like, it was either for my hair or my skin. So I only really spent $55 on the sale on makeup. And one of the things I got was the Melt Cosmetics Nightmare Before Christmas Blush Light Duo. I really, really like the packaging. I'm not a Nightmare Before Christmas ultra fan. I have watched the movie twice. I think artistically speaking, coming from someone who like learned animation and stuff, it's very well done, but I wouldn't call myself an ultra fan. I did really like the packaging, and more than that, I absolutely love the colors inside. I've never actually tried the Melt Blush Light formula. I've always wanted to, and I believe it's like on its way out for a while now. So I thought this might be a good chance to try it. So now today I'm not gonna try it because I'm not gonna be able to use the blush. I already have blush. So I'm just gonna use the highlighter side. Oh, it feels kind of oily and greasy. Is it gonna break up my blush? So I'm gonna try and pat this on carefully and not take off my foundation or my blush. It almost kind of feels really like balmy. So I'm just gonna I'm trying to tap it on really gently to avoid lifting what's underneath. I'm being super, super careful right now. Okay, I think I was able to put it on without causing too much disturbances. Next, I want to put on some contour. So I'm just going to use this, which I've been using a lot lately just because it's been sitting on my desk where I can easily access it. I'm just going to use the lighter shade in this palette today, and I'm just going to focus this out here. I just need to contour a little bit here. Now that my skin, the oils are kind of coming through a little bit more, I'll also take the light powder in here and press that just on the inner part of my face and smooth out that area at least. Oh my gosh, my under eyes, they look so dry. I think NU06 from Kaleidos. This is a new shade to my collection, but I have used this formula before. My lips are not super plumped and hydrated today, so they look smaller than they usually do. Usually I'm able to, when I wear my lip mask regularly, it really helps make my lips look a lot plumper. So if you have really dry lips, but you want to wear matte liquid lipsticks, try the Kaleidos ones, because they are just kind of the most forgiving. Okay, so I'm just gonna, my bangs are really long, I do need to trim them, so I just have them brushed to the side. But this is gonna be my finished look, so I do apologize for all of the hiccups along the way, but I hope you guys kind of, you know, enjoyed watching me try to salvage what basically everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. You guys got to kind of see how I tried to like rescue certain things that go wrong, how I try to cover up things that don't work out. This is kind of, you guys kind of got to see my approach, so I hope that maybe you guys can take away from this, you know, some tips and tricks on if your makeup goes alright and everything goes wrong, what can you do to fix it. So I hope you guys maybe at least took some stuff away from that. I literally have been filming now for like 110 minutes. That's how long it took me to figure out some of this, especially the eyeshadows. So I do think in the future, whenever I can figure it out, I will make a video on dry eyelids and eyeshadow as soon as I unlock the secret. I will share it with you guys. I cannot be the only one on this planet with dry eyelids. I am honestly kind of shocked that the eyeshadows in this palette performed like they did on me. I will continue to mess around with it. I'll let you guys know what my findings are, but in the meantime, let me know what you guys thought of this video, what you guys thought of this look. If any of you guys have used Diverune Cosmetics yet, do let me know what your experience it was. I would be curious to know. And in the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. I'll see how this eyeshadow wears for the next like 3 hours before I go to bed. I'm a night owl. I have a lot to do. So until then, take care. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.